U.S. panel is calling for HIV screening of all Americans aged 15 to 65, regardless of whether they are considered to be at high risk. A change that may help lift some of the stigma. Again, you got your government point, sticking its finger in the pie and pointing its finger at you and telling you that you're the one that's the problem, not them. And rather than let a few suffer, they would rather make the entire group suffer. I grew up in a family like that, where rather than the person that was being, it should have been punished, uh, getting the punishment, actually the entire family got the punishment, with the understanding that, of course, the person that did it would get punished. Uh, at the White House, we had a little cancer visitor, 7 years old, visited Obama at the White House, and so a little Nebraska boy captured national attention. And he ran a ceremonial 69-yard touchdown during the University of Nebraska spring football. And he visited President Obama while at the White House in the Oval Office. People, you need to understand something about cancer. It's a very, very difficult and very, very, very risky disease that is debilitating, and when you have it afflict someone at such a young age who's just now getting a stronghold on life, it's extremely difficult to to make these youngsters feel important and to forget all that they're facing. They are facing a lot, and you have hospitals like St. Jude's Hospital and things of that, hospitals like that, that are out there, helping people. But, they never refuse anyone. They're always taking people in, children they can't pay, and it's just a humanitarian thing. This Danny Thomas started it a long, long time ago, and it's a very, very humanitarian effort that's being done. Questions are being made as to whether or not the government is stockpiling ammo to thwart the gun owners. Well, there has been words spread that the Department of Homeland Security has been buying up ammo. Why would they be buying up ammo if they didn't think that there was a threat? The Army is returning tanks and they're buying ammo. I mean, you figure it out. It's a difficult thing to figure out. In the news today, also, we've got new databases focusing on China's secretive aid to Africa. China is flexing its muscle, it's building its military up, and it's actually extending its tentacles out further and further as its economy is growing. And the U.S. is actually encouraging its growth. So it's kind of strange that we would encourage the growth of someone who used to be one of our biggest enemies, but you can't just go by what you hear. It's like I said, it's all up for interpretation. You have to go deeper sometimes in order to find the truth. There is an FHA insured loan. If you're thinking about refinancing or taking out a new FHA loan, the time of the act is now, because the new rule comes into play June 3rd to avoid rule changes. So if you have an FHA loan, you better take note and you better act right now, um, while the iron is hot. We've got other things in the news, but I don't want to dedicate this entire show to just news. I mean, this is news, and also it's how does things relate to the Bible, or how the Bible relates to it as we're going to through life, and as we're going from day to day and show to show. Good news for soap opera watchers. All My Children and One Life to Live return as online soaps. So now you have your opportunity to continue to watch your soap operas online. And we've got other things, like Google invades search turf with the iPhone, the iPad app, and we've got Obama's calling for people coming out, and people being told to come out before they retire out of sports and all this other stuff. I don't agree with this. I say, hey, don't ask, don't tell. Whatever happens behind closed doors needs to stay there, and you don't need to try to put yourself out there to see if you can gain some kind of stronghold or some kind of voting bloc or some sort of influential group of people where you can affect politics or whatever, and get benefits and turn things your way, So I think that that's one of the reasons why things are being done the way they're being done. That's just my opinion. Now, it could be other things as well, like life insurance and inheritance and things of that nature, capital gains, who is being left property, who has the right to property, and so forth. Okay, we're going to be moving on to our scriptural part of this show today, and we're going to be moving into prophecy and how it relates to today's world. And we look at prophecy, and some people say, well, if you weren't a prophet if you were a prophet back in Israel in the prophecy days, and you gave a bad prophet, guess what? You were stoned. So you were either right or you were stoned. One of the two. I mean, I'm not talking about stone being stoned in today's terms. I'm talking about you literally lost your life. They literally pounded you with rocks and boulders until they killed you. So you were under a tremendous amount of pressure to always give the word that you heard from God, and those things that He was stating to be written. So in the Old Testament, you'll always notice that it says, thus saith the Lord, um, you know, God spoke through His prophets uh, concerning what was going to happen in the future, and it was written down. And someone's done an analysis on it, and I think they said something about 90-some% of the prophecies have come to pass. That they were just that accurate. I mean, the Jewish people are very accurate people, and they are very, very astute whenever it comes to stuff like this, and they don't they take it very seriously, and we should too, because I mean they brought the oracles of God to the world through them, even though that some things did happen, that they didn't agree with. Um, God will graft us into the olive tree. They are considered to be the olive tree, and we are the Gentiles, and we will be grafted into the olive tree eventually, and there will be peace on earth one day. Um, right now, all of these things are shaping up. The one world order is shaping up to look like it's getting ready for Armageddon, with all these wars and rumors of wars that were spoken of in the Bible, where it was talked about how the people of the north and people of the south and the people of the east would come against Israel, and they would land in the land of Megiddo, which is where Armageddon would be fought, and they would be like locusts. I mean, it would just be so many people, just all over the place, and this is going to be one huge war, folks. I mean, it's going to be good versus evil. This is going to be where the rubber meets the road, and I would not want to be in it, because they said the blood will be so. There would be so much blood that it would be up to the horse's bridle. It'd just be that deep for like miles. I mean, it's going to take 7 years to bury the dead and to dispose of the equipment. So you've got all of that in prophecy, and plus you've got things that will come afterwards. But right now we're in the birth pains. We're in the birth pains, the beginning of it, where we're getting these earthquakes, and we're getting these things that are showing up: earthquakes, tsunamis, sinkholes, signs in the heavens, solar storms. We're getting these things with the moon. We had a blue moon recently, and we had a couple of other things going on that they're just out there, and people are looking at, and some people look at it as secular eyes, and do not put any kind of special meaning to them, and then some people ascribe a biblical prophecy to it based on what they're seeing. And the thing of terrorism was spoken of, as in the last days there would be a lot of terrorism. So that's been increased quite a bit in the last 10 to 15 years. So we've got a lot going on. We've got a lot of things going on about marriage. What is a marriage? Is a marriage between a man and a woman, or a man and a man, or a woman and a woman? I mean, you've got all that going on. And now we've got in today's today's news, trusting God with your tomorrows. And who can you trust? Can you trust yourself? Can you trust yourself all the time? Even Einstein says he only made about 50% correct decisions. The rest of them were wrong. So he could only trust himself 50%. How much more can we trust ourselves? Moses was one that trusted God with his tomorrow. Moses was in the desert. He was a refugee. He had fled. He was in exile. He had fled, and he was out in a burning desert whenever he came across a fire